Welcome back. We're going to begin session 1, part 2, this time specifically for grades 3, 4, 5. Let's talk about the discussion points. So part 1 was about what? And we spent a long time looking at vertical alignment and horizontal alignment. This is about how to. All right, so let's get busy. First, we're going to look at identification of priority standards and major clusters. Then we're going to talk about pacing guides, or what's known as a grade level timeline. And then we will develop purposeful planning. So going through those stages, first looking at priorities, then matching it to our new curriculum, developing that pacing guide, then we can plan. Not next module, that's the next plan. Okay, purposeful planning. And finally, with all that planning in mind, how will we know the kids know? Make sure assessments are in place. Now, we won't go deep with assessments this time. We'll spend an entire session on, well, not the whole thing, but a great deal of time on assessments in a subsequent session. So how do we recognize or identify priority? Well, it's pretty easy when we use the Achieve the Core plans or the maps, or we look at the New York DOE Next Generation Learning Standards. They're usually identified with a green square, made this big, large check so you would remember and recognize it when you see it. So how do I know? Let's look for the green squares. All right, here we go. Major and supporting and additional clusters for grade 3. If you know me, you've seen this before, but now we're looking at it with a different purpose in mind. So let's look deep and say, what is it that's very important for third graders to take with them to the next grade level? All right. Well, we know that operations and algebraic thinking are very important. They've been very important since first grade. All right, so they continue on that. And so we have represent and solve problems, including multiplication and division. Whoa, yeah. The farthest we got in second grade was repeated addition, actually with images of objects or with objects. We started looking at repeated addition only in pattern formation. So you guys in third grade, you launched this, all right? And so if you say, well, they don't know their fluency, well, it's because it really begins here, formally, and to mastery, why it's priority. We've got this. Understand properties of multiplication and the relationship with multiplication and division. Now, here's the deal. The brain likes to go forward. All right, we just do. It likes addition. It likes multiplication. It likes to drive forward. It likes to think moving forward. What next? And when we put it in reverse, it's like parallel parking, putting it in reverse. It's like, whoa, we don't like this. This feels challenging. I'm struggling. So when we look at the second priority standard, we don't just say, oh, yeah, they go together, inverse operations. No, I understand the concept of multiplication and division being inverse properties or inverse operations, inverse relationships. And so when we teach them that way and we adhere to this being a priority, just like in second grade, add, subtract was. And then in first grade, just the relationship of put together, take apart. We are growing the operational fluency in that manner. If we have kids that say, you know, I don't know the difference between a multiplication and division, or I can multiply, I have no idea how, what, it's we don't see the relationship. So this would be something that they are missing. And then we multiply and divide within 100. Hint, hint, part of what? Number space 10. All right, it's also easy, right? We start to see things move around in the base 10, in the place value. And then solve problems involving 4 operations. Whoa, that used to belong to 4th grade, and look what happened. Yeah, it's all on us now. All right, but we can lay that foundation and establish that operational fluency so they can be successful when they hit 4th in the numbers. They grow, but what do they do in 5th grade? Oh, they already know. Numbers explode, giant, very small. All right, so we're doing it in looking for patterns and relationships. Do you see something going on here in 3rd grade? Establishing the relationship of operations, establishing the relationship in patterns and reasoning. It's having them pay attention to what's going on in math. It's like decoding and becoming a fluent reader. We pay attention to blends and certain spellings and certain sounds. You're doing the same thing in numeracy. Okay, they're old enough. We got this, right? We skip that little yellow thing for right now, and we go to develop understanding of fractions as numbers. Whoa, you're the first one with an NF. Yes, and the NFs just keep growing after 3rd grade. But all we have to really do in 3rd grade is understand that fractions are a piece of the whole, and also that we understand equivalence. So very, very important. If you say, well, my 5th graders, they just don't get fractions. Well, you know what we're going to do. It's a learning gap, and we're going to take care of it. 3rd grade, right now, no learning gaps. We are going to prepare these kids to go forward with these priority standards. Oh, measurement, a bunch of them, right? Solve problems involving measurement and estimate it. You're the first one to do intervals of time. I know, because time is invisible. We can measure the size of your phone. We can measure, the volume. Okay, we can do all that. But time is invisible. So in itself, time is a challenging concept. Oh yeah, that's kind of free. Don't say hard, just say challenging. Challenging, we're going to meet that challenge, all right? So interval of time, liquid volumes, masses of objects, right, priority. And then geometric measurement. Understand concepts of area related to multiplication and addition. Really, we're just reviewing operations with a reason. Okay, you're still multiplying and dividing and stuff. So that one's really related. We can even review those together. That would be great. So you see what is priority here. Now, you only have one supporting cluster, and we talked about that last summer. If you weren't there, the stat or the data got flattened and picks up a tiny little piece, K5, all right, before it gets to be priority in the upper level. All right, so, and then what's another one? Reason with shapes and their attributes. Now, we've been talking about shapes and attributes since what? Actually, pre-K, all right? They sorted and looked at different shapes. All right, now we are adding to that. That continues to build as a supporting cluster. Then the yellow, you know what yellow means? Teach it after the state assessment. Actually, the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics and the DOE says an additional cluster is to have awareness. No mastery. Awareness. I'm going to not do that again. Okay. Awareness. We need awareness of place value understanding and properties of operation to perform multi-digit arithmetic. And we need awareness of geometric measurement, recognize perimeter. Isn't that strange that we do area? It's because of the multiplication thing. And we don't think about perimeter as a skill until later on. You'll see it appear just a moment. All right, so that's third. Let's take a look at fourth. Now, picture this. Those kids are bringing the priority standards to this page, to this grade level. It's going to be wonderful. OA. 4 operations, boom, that's it. You know why? 3rd grade has the other one. Look at that. 3rd grade has 4 operations algebraic thinking, and they know it. So they only bring one. In fourth grade, we sharpen those skills with the 4 operations, or we look at learning gaps, right? And then we skip down to number space 10. Why are there only 7 priority standards? Well, when we say them aloud, it's because they're giant. Oh my goodness. We got the big NBTs and we got the big NFs. Let's look at it. Generalized place value, understanding multi-digit whole numbers. So if they didn't get hundreds, tens, and ones, whoa, whoa, whoa. We're going to throw in those thousands and 10,000s and we are lost. So that is why we bring those priority standards to the next grade level. And then use place value, understanding, and properties of operations to perform multi-digit arithmetic. All right, extend understanding of fraction, equivalence, and ordering. I have to order fractions? Remember, we learned what a fraction was. We looked at equivalence, and now we're looking at order. Difficult if we don't know what that denominator means. All right, so we're going to really look at this very carefully. And then what? Build fractions from unit fractions. You're the first one actually to say unit fraction. Unit fraction never goes away. We say a unit fraction in middle school. We say unit fraction in algebra 2. All right, so you guys teach it to them, and then they have it, right? Unit fraction by applying and extending previous understandings of operations. So we take that first one, that one right there. We take that one and do it in fractions. As you say that so quickly. Yeah, that's a challenge. All right, but we can meet that challenge. Understand decimal notation for fractions. All right, and then compare decimal fractions. That's your priority. That's a big priority. So when we're doing fractions, the supporting one is this blue one up here, factors and multiples. We can teach that within the fraction unit. We can also, measurement conversion, can we do that when we're doing decimals and whole? Yeah, we can. We can bring in that supportive standard to support our priority standards. And then, of course, represent data. And you heard the flat line before, that every grade level is going to pick up a little in a supporting way. And then June, after testing, the yellow to an awareness level. I'm not going to do air quotes. Almost did. All right, so the additional, analyze patterns and geometric measurement, understand concepts of angle and measure angles. All right, awareness after the test. Got it. Draw and identify lines and you do the whole geometry thing after the test. June, got it. I've got this. 5th grade. You say, I'm going to teach 5th grade. They've only got 5 priority standards. They're huge. Ask any 5th grade teacher. Actually, these are huge clusters. There's zillion, because they deal with millions and billions and zillions in 5th grade. There's a lot of elements under each of these clusters. The whole place value system. Little bitty, great big, exponents, decimals, big numbers, scientific notation. It's big, very big. Equivalent fractions as a strategy to add and subtract fractions. Okay, so we do operations with unlike denominators. That's what it says in fancy language. And then apply and extend previous understandings of multiplication and division to multiply and divide fractions. We're going to look at that in depth today. All right, that's the one I picked to do pacing with, because that's really important. All right, and then geometric measurement, volume, and relate volume to multiplication and addition. So repeated addition, and we see that multiplication is a better way of doing it. All right, so then we only have 2 supporting. Convert like measurement units within a given measurement system. We don't go cross metric and customary anymore. So we stay within metric to metric, customary to customary. All right, there's really no need to say 2.54 centimeters is an inch, although we know it. Okay, I learned before this. I went cross the conversions. All right, you probably did too. Some of you did. And then the flatlining of the data. And then you have 4 things that you can do after testing. Interpret numerical expressions, all right, which is going to be a priority in 6th grade. So expose awareness. And what else? Patterns and relationships. And then the whole graphing thing. If we can't teach it to mastery, don't confuse them. So wait until we have time and look at the coordinate plane in real world mathematical problems. That means let's do a map. Let's do coordinate, a coordinate grid. Let's don't confuse kids. In Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, we still have kids that get confused with X and Y. So we want to present it as awareness in a friendly manner after that rigor of the testing. And then classify 2D figures and categories based on their properties, their attributes and their properties. So you get a feel of what's going on vertically. All right, that was horizontal. All right, if we just look within grade level, horizontal alignment. If we look across grade bands, the whole point of 3, 4, 5 is called operational fluency. All right. If you say K12, say the development of the numeracy. Let's just say that. All right. We understand number, but we start letting that number be operational and fluent. 3, 4, 5. Multiplication and division of whole numbers, fractions, concept skills, and problem solving. Boom, we have that. So that is the vertical alignment that goes across grade level. That's why it's important that we carry with us those operational and priority standards. You say, whoa, that is so busy. I know. I tried to make it clean and I couldn't. All right, so just be with me. Go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, I'll do this for you. First of all, this is how to do priority alignment to your curriculum. And you go, well, I don't use Pearson. I don't use Envision. Actually, Envision is the curriculum. It's owned by Pearson. This is free. It's owned by Pearson, and Savas is the digital format. All right, they put it together in the digital format. So it's all the same thing. Whether you say Savas, you're talking about the website. Whether you say Pearson, that's the owner of the curriculum Envision. And Envision is your textbook. All right, that was free. Now let's look and see what 1, 2, 3 is. 1, I'm going to look at my standards. NF, fractions. And then I go, it's priority. I check that out. And if it's in the standards and it's priority, then I take note of this lesson in topic 9 in the Envision book, and I need to teach 9-1 and 9-2 and every one of these that are what? Priority standards with integrity, fidelity, all the way to mastery. All right. So 1, 2, 3. And I see some of you still saying, I don't use Envision. Okay. Do you use Into Math? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I think I'm sitting a little bit in front of the 1. I'll scoot me down for a minute. All right. So if you use HMH, what is HMH? Houghton Mifflin? All right. That was free too. Houghton Mifflin or Into Math. You might also have Into Reading. That's their curriculum. First, we look at what? Standards. You can sort by modules if you know it really well, but I always go standards first. What are we teaching and where is it? So what are we teaching? Is it priority? And where are those lessons at? Now look at this. It doesn't appear on the scene till module 10. Remember about Pearson? It was in topic 9. You go, wait a minute, how can that be? That's why we have to take our curriculum and pace it. And you go, well, I don't use either one of those. I use Eureka. Okay. Oh, I'm going to scoop myself back up. All right. There I go. I'm going to stay right there. All right. Now, again, I look at the standards, the curriculum map, its priority, where is it taught? And it's taught in Module 4. You go, I had no idea. That's why we have to look for our priority standards. Where is it in our curriculum? 3, 4, 5. And you know, we are the heavies. We teach in a tested area. 3rd grade, you launched that. All right. And so it's very critical that we teach those priority standards to what? To mastery. And you say, wait a minute. Standards, match it to priority, put the lessons in the pacing guide. I've got this. I'm going to look back. Standards, priority, put that lesson in the pacing guide. Standards, match it to priority, put that lesson. And now you're saying, what pacing guide? Okay. You might have a matrix. You might use your calendar, somewhere where you can look at the semester or look at your trimester. Wherever you look to see by testing time in May, are we going to have the priorities done to mastery? That's the point of all of this. This is why we have to do it. All right. So you say, well, I don't have a pacing guide. I don't know what that is. I made one. This is my favorite one. I have a couple of them. I like the vertical one so that I can do this right here. I can look at my objectives and I put the green check there. So I'm pacing out priority for the rest of the year. That's what we've got left. We've got the rest of the year left. We have had a warm, fuzzy, well, I wouldn't even say that, fall, but now we have to get down to business and we're going to pull those priorities and get down to business. And so I put my pacing there. I put the priority standards, and then I do exactly that. You know, I've looked at my standards in my text. I pulled out the priority ones and I say, oh, what module number? What are the dates am I going to teach that? What lessons are they? And then how many days is that? And I might need to do some intervention or some, differentiation. And then how am I going to assess mastery? I will put this in the resource for you in the Google Classroom, but remember it's a Google Doc, and if you take notes in the Google Doc, then it will take notes for everybody. So download it, make it your own. All right, and then you can just have that. You have that pacing guide, and you won't be saying, what pacing guide? Don't say that. All right, you know what it is now. You either have one already or you can use one or you can make up one of your own. I did say I have a horizontal one. I'm not in love with horizontal. My brain doesn't work that way. But I'll send you that template also if you'd like it. Just put a note in the Google Classroom and I will post it there also. All right, so to review, here we go, big review. The 2022 Road to Pacing, better known as Countdown to State Assessment, Regions, all right? Or countdown to the next grade level. We want to get our kids successful at each grade. And stop saying those learning gaps. We're going to attend to it. Or what does that look like? Big story, big idea, priority standards. What is taught to mastery? Align the priority major clusters with your new textbook. Very important. Bet you didn't know that some of them have topic 9, topic 10, module 4. Okay, we've got to look for it and put it on there or it won't get taught. Identify those lessons. Maybe it's just lesson 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, whatever. We need to put those on there and then allow extra time for emphasis. Okay, I'm laughing. And I'm sorry to interrupt. But, I have 3 sons. And when we did things for emphasis, we just go say it twice for emphasis. Emphasis. And I apologize for that. All right. But when I see the word, I think about those guys. And I they're funny guys and they're good mathematicians. And when it's for emphasis, then that's what we do. So we want extra time for emphasis and differentiation when needed. And we deliver instruction, and then we assess for the priority standards for mastery. That's the big idea. That's it. And assessing, and this is just a reminder. We've seen this before. If you were with me in the spring, just wanted to remind you, we did all of this time talking about planning with a purpose, identification of priority standards. And you don't wait till the test. Don't wait until Friday to figure out those kids didn't get any of that. No. We're going to see it right up front, because we're going to plan, deliver instruction, observe, monitor, document, review, track, interpret, plan again. This is what our day should look like. Informal assessment. All right. And we'll talk about this in a later session, but I will post these links also in the Google Classroom, just how to document this kind of assessment, authentic assessment. Usually it's in a portfolio or something like that. And so I have these links for you, and we will talk about those in depth at another time. But I want you to, if you're in the portfolio mood, you need it now, because you're going to start teaching what? You're going to start teaching priority standards now. We're not waiting on this stuff. We're doing it now. All right. Which gets us to, well, what if they don't get those priorities? What if that we assess? All right. Remember, achieve the core. And we saw it in the first part of the part 1, session 1. Help me get this out here. And you just take it, you look at it, we know that it's a major cluster, and we align. Now, we will look at this, and you have looked at with me before, and I'll put the breadcrumbs, how to get there, in the Google Classroom. All right, that was just a reminder. Also, the crosswalk. And this, if you look at the crosswalk for 5th grade, 3rd and 4th grade teachers, you'll say, oh yeah, they can stay in 5th grade. Yeah, there might be one major cluster, but lots of stuff under it. All right, so take a look at those, refresh your memory. Now, here's the deal. I wouldn't be Pam Work if I didn't talk about retention. We spend a great deal of purposeful time planning for incredible instruction, and then our kids don't remember. Well, we can do things to help them, and I want you to do that. And so retention is part of the best practices are when you use experiences. Now, I know it was funny for me a while ago when I say for emphasis. And I tell you about my boys, we always said it that way. You're going to remember that. And I'm sorry if you don't like to say for emphasis. But that's what retention is. When we build in those stories, when we build in their personal experiences, it attaches, the brain loves it. The brain says, oh, that was so cool. It wasn't just the skill. It was the experience with it that helps me remember. And when we make it personal in real life, it attaches the mathematics to something tangible, something in my life. So I can say, oh yeah, I know when I'm going to use that. I see it and I use it already. And then of course, file save as. We close the lesson or recap. Sorry about the pun there. Closure. All right, and so I want you to close today. You are going to go to the next link in the Google Classroom, complete the reflection, and that will bring up and release the attendance form for you. So you have completed video 1, video 2, then the reflection, then you can complete the attendance, and you have professional development credit, or I'll turn in the list, right? You know how that works. So I want to thank you for being with me today. Thank you for caring about mathematics instruction and your devotion and your care about student learning. So I appreciate it, and you guys have a great day.